Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming. My name is Nicholas Ganji, and I'm the United States Attorney for the Southern District of Texas. On February 11th of this year, a federal grand jury sitting here in Houston returned a 22-count superseding indictment against 14 members and associates of the Bandidos outlaw motorcycle gang. The majority of those defendants are members of the Welcome to Hell chapter located here in Katy, Texas. This superseding indictment alleges that the charged defendants engaged in a course of criminal conduct in connection with and for the benefit of the Bandidos organization. These crimes include racketeering, assault, robbery, arson, and murder. If convicted, these defendants face a penalty of up to life imprisonment, and some up to 20 years. Now, the Bandidos are a particularly violent organization, even by outlaw motorcycle gang standards, and they're also especially large. Although the Bandidos began in Texas, they've spread worldwide, with chapters not only throughout Texas, but around the world, in Europe, in Asia, and starting now in Mexico. So what this indictment alleges is the Bandidos engage in a series of violent attacks against other bikers in the Houston area, ranging from barroom assaults to outright murder, all with the purpose of driving out any rival biker gangs out of the Houston area, which the Bandidos saw as their turf. In other words, the Bandidos sought to exert a monopoly on motorcycle clubs and gangs in the Houston area, which could only operate with their blessing and with their permission. This superseding indictment alleges that this monopoly was enforced with violence on the part of the Bandidos organization. This alleged conduct stretched all over the Houston area, from the Woodlands all the way down to Pasadena and out to Katy. But perhaps the most striking aspect of the criminal conduct alleged in this case was how open and brazen it was. The alleged assaults and shootings took place in public spaces, in bars, in restaurants, motorcycle dealership, and on our public roads. In other words, innocent people, innocent motorists could have been injured or killed by the actions alleged in this indictment. So what we have done today is targeted some of the most dangerous people in that organization through RICO charges. RICO, Racketeering, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act, provides a powerful criminal penalty for people that engage in a pattern of racketeering activity or members and associates of an enterprise that affects interstate commerce. And that is what is precisely alleged in the indictment. Public safety is and will always be job one for the Southern District of Texas. You can be rest assured that we will do whatever it takes to ensure that violent criminal organizations, either here in the Houston area or in South Texas, are swiftly brought to justice. Today's superseding indictment is the product of tremendous prosecutorial collaboration between our office and the Violent Crime and Racketeering section of the Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. It is also the product of the incredible teamwork of our federal, state, and local law enforcement partners. With that, I will turn it over to Special Agent in Charge Douglas Williams of Houston FBI.
Good afternoon. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Before I'd like to start my comments, I'd like to thank all of my partners who stand with me here today, shoulder to shoulder, in this truly team effort to combat the Bandidos. And again, my name is Doug Williams. I'm Special Agent in Charge of FBI Houston. This morning's arrest of 10 members from the Bandidos outlaw motorcycle gang has been more than 6 years in the making. Yep, you heard that right. This morning's takedown is the result of more than 6 years of steadfast work, dedication, and collaboration between law enforcement partners standing with me here today. Our efforts have paid dividends in the form of numerous federal murder and racketeering charges against the Bandidos. I'd especially like to thank our partners at the Texas Board of Criminal Justice Office of Inspector General for their efforts in bringing this case to the federal court system. Alongside our federal, state, and local partners, we've dealt a significant blow to an extremely violent chapter of the Bandidos outlaw motorcycle gang operating here in our region. Over the past 6 years, a vicious turf war between the Bandidos and the Beast outlaw motorcycle gangs has threatened Houstonians in a very public way. As part of the conflict, the Bandidos' national leadership allegedly put out a smash on sight order against the Beast members. That order essentially gave Bandidos a green light to violently assault and even kill Beast members on sight. As a result of over half a decade, our team of agents and task force officers has responded to highway shootouts that endangered innocent drivers, aggravated assaults in family restaurants that terrified patrons, and calculated murders that rocked the safety and well being of our community. Make no mistake, members of this Bandidos chapter are not the glamorized characters you've seen in TV shows and in the movies. These are vicious, violent men who regularly put innocent people in life threatening situations to further a senseless turf war. These men pride themselves on being part of a violent, reactionary force dedicated to the destruction and slaughter of a rival gang. In short, they are exactly the type of alleged criminals our team of agents and task force officers are trained to investigate and take down. In response to the serious public threat posed by the Bandidos, FBI Houston worked closely with the Texas Board of Criminal Justice, Office of Inspector General, task force officers, other law enforcement partners, and the federal prosecutors to secure RICO indictments against the Bandidos. And to put that into perspective of how serious we view this group, these RICO indictments are the first RICO indictments secured in the Southern District of Texas in over 12 years. Outlaw motorcycle gangs, like the Bandidos, often hide behind the facade of a club, but their true goal is to spread violence and intimidation, regardless of who they hurt with their crimes. Today's arrests send a stark message to other outlaw motorcycle gangs in our area. You can't outsmart us. You can't outrun us. And you're certainly not untouchable. This operation wasn't just about bringing alleged criminals to justice. It's about protecting people, families, and children who live and work in the Texas communities our law enforcement agencies standing behind me serve. Every arrest today means there's one less motorcycle outlaw on the streets terrorizing our neighborhoods with violence. We're proud of what we achieved today, but there's more work to be done. The FBI and our partners will continue to protect Texans in our community, and we will do whatever it takes to dismantle violent gangs that threaten our neighborhoods. I'd like to thank you for your time here today. I'd like to thank all of my partners who stand behind me, and I'll now turn the podium over to Regional Director Gerald Brown with the Texas Department of Public Safety.
Good morning. Thank you all for coming here. Media, thank you for what you do for us. And there's not a lot that I could add to what these gentlemen already said, but I will take the opportunity to thank everyone here at the podium. U.S. Attorney, welcome to Houston. Thank you for all you're doing with this case. Hey, look, there's no greater responsibility for law enforcement than that of taking care of its citizens, protecting its citizens. And this case that we had today, which was a joint collaborative effort with all the folks you see up here, all the young men and women that are out there on the streets working every day to protect the state of Texas, the citizens of the state of Texas, the folks that were arrested today, is a culmination of a long-term investigation with all these agencies that you see here. Today, we took some violent folks off the street. These are some of the most violent members of this outlaw motorcycle gang that we took off the streets today in an effort to make Texas safer. So thank you to everyone that's a part of this investigation. This was a true investigation, true collaborative investigation with the state, local, and federal agencies. I'd like to take 1 second to thank those folks from my agency, those special agents, the troopers, the aircraft folks, the analysts, everyone that was involved, put in a lot of effort to work on this case. And finally, before I sit down, DPS is committed to making Texas safer. That's our commitment. That's our commitment to the citizens of the state that we live in. Not only we're committed to the making Texas safer, we're also committed to our law enforcement partners and our public partners. So thank you very much for your time today.
Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Scott Spencer with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and it's an honor to be here today. Sheriff Wesley Doolittle regrets that he couldn't be here, but he asked me to share his appreciation for the incredible work that has gone into this case. This investigation took years of hard work and dedication from countless law enforcement professionals at every level, as you can see, that are represented here today. Today's indictments are proof of their commitment. This case is a powerful reminder of why strong partnerships between federal, state, and local agencies matter. When we work together with a shared goal of public safety and keeping our communities safe, there is nothing that we can't accomplish. On behalf of Sheriff Doolittle and the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, I want to thank our law enforcement partners for their relentless dedication and determination in this case. We remain committed to holding criminals accountable, ensuring justice is served, and making our communities a safer place. Back over to the U.S. Attorney. Sir.
Thank you all. We'll now turn it over for questions if you have any.
Could you go a little bit into where this takedown happened, when members that were involved in this takedown?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the rest of your question.
Could you just go more into the specifics of the takedown, where it happened, when the multiple members of this gang that were involved in the arrest? Who were those members?
Sure. So you will all get a copy of the superseding indictment in this case that sets forth all of the members that were subject to this superseding indictment, as well as the charges against each one of those. As terms of like where they were actually arrested, it was at residences all throughout the Houston area.
Do you have any details about how many people were alleged to have been killed as part of this indictment? How many murders are what were the circumstances of those?
So there is one murder that's alleged in the superseding indictment, which took place in November 2nd, 2021, outside of the Blue Bayou restaurant here in Houston, which allegedly involved a member of the Bandidos shooting several motorcyclists, one of whom passed away.
Two people named in this indictment, John Splendorio and Hinojosa, they were arrested and charged in connection with a June 2023 shooting in October. Does that make it similar to this one, or how does the indictment actually work?
Yes, this is a superseding indictment of that original attempted murder indictment, incorporating more Bandidos.
10 people arrested today. The indictment names 14 people. Where are those other 4?
They will soon be in custody.
What do we know about this particular motorcycle gang? Do they have cross-border? Are they from a particular area? We know the cartels are in certain areas. Do they have cartel connections that either are giving them orders or they're getting orders from? What do we know about them as well? And has the nation of Mexico been cooperating in helping us get these guys?
So I don't want to speak to cartel ties or Mexico's role, if any, in the investigation, but I can say that the Bandidos have a worldwide reach, including chapters in Mexico, and they are involved in drug trafficking. This specific indictment does not allege any sort of international drug trafficking per se.
You mentioned the second gang, the Beasts. Can you talk a little bit more about who they are? Is this a newer developing group here? Have they been here a while? Kind of where else are they regionally?
So, Beast or Brothers East is a rival motorcycle gang of the Bandidos. They don't have the as long of a history of the Bandidos, who date back to the 1960s and were started just south of Houston in San Leon, but they are they do operate within the Houston area, and therefore they're seen as a rival of the Bandidos, and therefore the Bandidos are alleged to have committed the violent acts in the indictment to drive them out of Houston.
Turf war over? Is it still going on? Most recent act of violence connected to this war?
So The most recent act that we have in this indictment is 2023. So rest assured, Southern District of Texas, if there are other acts committed by either this particular chapter, the Bandidos, or any other motorcycle gang within Houston or the Southern District of Texas, we are going to be vigorously pursuing it and bringing all available charges.
You talk about how large the Bandidos are, thousands of members. We're talking about 10, 14 people who have been indicted here. What hope is it that one case here can affect the larger apparatus of this gang?
Well, this particular case, I think, means a great deal to the victims that were attacked and the families of those that were killed by the Bandidos in this particular case. And so I think it means a whole heck of a lot. And anytime that a member of a criminal organization commits a crime in the Southern District of Texas, we're going to investigate it thoroughly. And if there are charges that can be brought, we're going to bring charges. In accordance with departmental policies, we're going to bring the most serious, readily provable offenses.
Are any of the people indicted leaders of the Bandidos?
Mr. Pfeffer is the leader of the Welcome to Hell chapter in Katy. He's the lead defendant in the superseding indictment. Some people within the superseding indictment have operated in a position of sergeant at arms in the national leadership, but in terms of like the local Houston impact, the lead defendant, Mr. Pfeffer, is the president of the local chapter here, the Welcome to Hell chapter.
First frequent indictment secured in the Southern District in over 12 years was the one against the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas.
That is correct.
Those like 36 people were charged.
I believe that's correct. Well, I don't want to speak to any sort of investigative techniques that were used in the investigation.
So then, to go to the point of the fact that the leader of the Katy chapter is in custody and in this indictment, can you speak to the Katy chapter? Have they been crippled in some way, or are they still active members? Is there a new leader who's going to take over?
Well, we can't speak to the current state of the Katy chapter. I think, though, the fact that their president was just taken into custody this morning is probably a very sizable blow to that particular chapter and that the organization as a whole is operating in the Houston area. Anything else?
They're making their first court appearances
Today. Or, sorry, tomorrow.
Do you expect to, will your prosecutors seek to have these men detained until their trial?
I anticipate they will. All right, I don't see any further questions, so I'm going to wrap it up here. I want to thank you all for coming today. I want to again thank our excellent law enforcement partners, federally, state, and local law enforcement partners for this case that they've brought, which I think is make a real difference in the Houston community. Thank you very much.